Welcome to part 2 of my video. In this section I'm going to be exploring the part of the line that ran from Buildwas in the Severn Valley up to Much Wenlock. And I've just come to a point which is about a quarter of a mile from Buildwas power station. The terrain now is very different, it's very overgrown, and we'll get a lot more overgrown than this. From here it's a steep climb all the way up into Much Wenlock. If I pan around and look at the south side, there is the start of the line going up the hill towards Much Wenlock. Now it gets a lot steeper than this and the terrain gets a lot more tricky than this, very overgrown. Well, it's nice to get into a shady spot, not because of the sun, because it's actually raining today, so it's a nice bit of shelter. Just worth thinking about the history of the line here and the sequence of events, because it was a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. We had the line from Wellington down into Horsehay was built. It was done there for to serve the ironworks and what have you, but eventually turned into a passenger line. We also had the line coming from what's now near the town centre, near Shifnal, down to Madeley, and again that was really a line serving the industries, the iron industries and the coal industries. Eventually they were able to get into the Severn Gorge and passenger services were able to start. We're talking the late 60s here by the time passenger service started. The next breakthrough was the actual building the Severn Valley Line, which came third in that little sequence, and that enabled that brought passenger services to the area, so passengers were then brought from Wellington down into the Severn Gorge. This line up to Much Wenlock was then followed soon after the Severn Valley Line. We're talking the early 1860s now, and shuttle services were able to take passengers from the Severn Gorge up this incline to Much Wenlock. So we then had passenger services coming from Wellington down into Severn Gorge, get across the river by foot or by boat, and then join the shuttle service at the bottom of the hill here, up the hill incline into Much Wenlock. The big breakthrough was the building of the bridge that we saw yesterday. That enabled traffic to come across. Then we had passenger services in the 1860s going all the way from Wellington down into the Severn Gorge, up this part, up this incline to Much Wenlock. That was then followed by the building of the Much Wenlock to Craven Arms. Well, then able to run passenger services all the way from Wellington all the way to Craven Arms. And those passenger services ran regularly for many, many years. Well, I just stepped off the track for a few seconds because as over here we have an old quarry. Now Wenlock is actually famous for two things, one of which is Wenlock limestone. Now Wenlock limestone has been quarried around here for many, many years, and it's a strong building stone, and this is one of the former quarries. Now you find outcrops of Wenlock limestone all over the world. You'll find it in places as far off as America, and all around the world it's known as Wenlock limestone, but this is the home of Wenlock limestone. Well, we're now about 3/4 of a mile from Much Wenlock, and the track is widened into a really nice footpath, and actually the local council spent some money on this and they've made it into a nice pathway, and also it's a bit of a nature walk as well, so a really nice bit of the railway to walk on as we approach Much Wenlock itself. Nice to see the council have put some time into this particular part of the line and have turned this into a nice nature railway walk. Now I said Much Wenlock was famous for two things. Well, here's a clue about the second one, and in the distance we can see the William Brooks School, and we have a plaque here which says to Dr. William Penny Brooks, 1809 to 1895. His imagination a worldwide inspiration. Now if you don't know who William Brooks was, he was the founder of the Olympic movement. He was a scientist, he was a botanist, he was a surgeon, and he was determined to get PE as an important part of the school curriculum. And so the whole Olympic Games movement that we know about all comes from William Brooks, who came here from Much Wenlock. And because of that, they have the Much Wenlock Olympic Society here. Now William Brooks became the first president of the Olympic movement, and the first games in Athens became 2 years later than that, which I think was 1896. Now this is the magnificent Much Wenlock station. It's been restored into a number of private house dwellings. This is the western side. Well, we've got a nice picture of Much Wenlock station, circa 1862, and it was originally just a small halt. This picture was taken from the south side. That now is the same view, and this lovely garden is where the tracks were. The station was extended when the through trains started coming through. It was just a small terminus originally. When they got the through trains all the way to Craven Arms, this was extended, and in fact there was a number of sidings here as well. Now if I turn south from the station, we've got a lovely bit of lawned former track here, and we'll start our walk in through the town of Much Wenlock itself. Well, it seems to come to an abrupt halt here. And that's because on the other side of here is the first bridge, one of two bridges in the town. The bridge now is sadly dismantled. You can see here the north end of the bridge. If we span across the road to the south side, the bridge is no more. Now on this sign it talks about the Olympic Trail, which is all around the town centre here in Much Wenlock. If we move up the street, you can see the Olympic Trail, which you can follow all the way around Much Wenlock. A really good walk if you're in the area. Well, I said there was two bridges in Much Wenlock. Yeah, by that I meant there was two railway viaducts. What we have got here is an interesting road bridge. We can clearly see in this undergrowth where the trains used to go. Most interestingly, the original stone top part of the bridge is gone and is replaced by a brick one. So this rather suggests that the bridge was dismantled after the railway was dismantled, and then the bridge rebuilt for the road, the newer brick material. On the south side of the bridge we can clearly see how it's been built up, and the path of the railway was much shallower than this mound now appears. From here the track veers southwest up and through Wenlock Edge and across to Marsh Farm, just north of Craven Arms, which is the end of the line. The next part of the journey will be in part 3.